Have you ever stood at the intersection of your past and present, where a single moment forces you to confront who you once were against who you become? That sudden, breathless collision of then and now that makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself and the path you've traveled? When Maya Rodriguez stepped onto the pristine marble entryway of 17, Cedarwood Drive with cleaning supplies in hand, she never imagined she would come face to face with the ghost of her teenage heartache, and the possibility that sometimes life's most painful detours lead exactly where you're meant to be. Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome to Love Crib, your ultimate destination for all things romances, connection, and heartfelt stories. I'm thrilled to have you here, sharing this amazing journey of exploring love in all its beautiful, complex, and magical forms. Whether you're a hopeless romantic, someone searching for relationship insights, or just love diving into heartwarming content, you're exactly where you need to be. If you're enjoying what you see, I'd be incredibly grateful if you could. Hit that subscribe button to stay connected with our Love Crib community. Drop a like to show some love, support, and motivation. Share this video with someone who might need a little romance in their life. Your support means the world to me and helps us continue creating content that celebrates love, connection, and the beautiful stories that bring us together. The wrought iron gates of 17, Cedarwood Drive loomed before Maya, impossibly tall and ornate. She checked the address on her phone again, eyeing the sprawling mansion beyond. This couldn't be right. She had cleaned plenty of nice homes before, but nothing like this. A 3-story stone mansion with manicured gardens stretching into the distance. Maya's shoulders ached from her morning shift at the diner. Her cleaning uniform, a simple blue polo and khaki pants, felt suddenly shabby against the backdrop of such opulence. Her company van, with its faded, pristine cleaning services logo, looked comically out of place parked beside the gate. "You're being ridiculous," she muttered to herself, pressing the intercom button. "It's just another job." But something about Cedarwood Drive stirred uncomfortable memories. This was the neighborhood where the rich kids had lived during high school. The same kids who'd thrown lavish parties she'd never been invited to while she worked weekends at Rosie's Cafe, watching their carefree lives from afar. "Hello?" A deep voice responded through the speaker. "Hi, I'm Maya from Pristine Cleaning. I have a 2 p.m. appointment." The gate swung open silently, and Maya drove up the winding driveway, her stomach knotting with each turn. She had no idea who lived here. The booking had come to her agency without details. But something about the address had nagged at her since she'd seen it on her schedule. As she stepped onto the portico, clutching her caddy of supplies, the massive door swung open, and there he stood, the last person she expected to see. Ethan Caldwell, her high school crush. The boy who teased her mercilessly about her second-hand clothes. The boy whose smile had once made her heart race even as his words cut deep. Except he wasn't a boy anymore. At 35, Ethan had grown into his lanky frame. His dark hair was shorter now, touched with distinguished silver at the temples. His eyes, still that startling blue she remembered, widened in surprise. "Maya?" he asked, his voice carrying the same note of disbelief she felt. "Maya Rodriguez?" And just like that, 15 years collapsed into nothing. Have you ever had a moment where your past and present collide so unexpectedly that you're not sure which version of yourself you should be? If you have, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories of unexpected reunions. Maya clutched her cleaning caddy like a shield. "That's me," she replied, fighting to keep her voice neutral. "I didn't realize this was your house." How could she have known? The last she'd heard, Ethan had gone to Stanford after graduation. Their worlds had been so different even back then. Him headed to an Ivy League future, her scrambling to help her mom pay rent. Ethan stepped back, gesturing her inside. "Please, come in. This is unexpected." The foyer was cavernous, with marble floors and a crystal chandelier that probably cost more than she made in a year. Maya followed him through to a living room where floor-to-ceiling windows framed a view of the mountains. The space was immaculate but oddly impersonal, as if no one really lived here, just expensive furniture waiting to be featured in a magazine. "I should get started," Maya said, avoiding his gaze. She needed to maintain professional distance. This was just another job, another house to clean, Another paycheck to help cover Emma's school supplies and her sister's medical bills. Of course. Ethan nodded, but made no move to leave. It's really something, seeing you again. You look exactly the same. Maya nearly laughed. She looked nothing like her 17-year-old self. Years of stress and double shifts had carved fine lines around her eyes. Her once wild curls were now tamed into a practical bun. The carefree girl who dreamed of traveling the world had long ago been replaced by a woman who calculated the cost of every grocery trip. You have a beautiful home, she said instead. It's too big for one person, he admitted, running a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar it sent an unwelcome pang through her chest. But when Calder Tech went public, my financial advisor insisted on appropriate real estate investments. Maya blinked. Calder Tech? The software company? Yeah. He looked almost embarrassed. I founded it about 8 years ago. Of course he had. While she'd been working herself to the bone, Ethan had been building an empire. The tech company had been in the news constantly, revolutionizing something or other that Maya had never fully understood. Congratulations, she said, meaning it despite the bitter taste in her mouth. I should really start with the kitchen, if that's okay. Sure, it's through here. He led the way, throwing casual glances back at her. So, what have you been up to all these years? How could she possibly answer that? Oh, not much. My mom died. My sister got sick. I dropped out of community college to support us. I worked 3 jobs and still can't seem to get ahead. Instead, she offered a tight smile. Life happened. You know how it is. The kitchen was a chef's dream, all gleaming stainless steel and pristine countertops. It looked barely used. I don't cook much, Ethan admitted, following her gaze. I'm more of a takeout guy. What a waste of a beautiful kitchen, Maya murmured before she could stop herself. To her surprise, Ethan laughed. That's exactly what my mother says. Maybe I need cooking lessons more than cleaning services. Maya set down her caddy and pulled on her work gloves. If you don't mind, I usually work alone. It helps me concentrate. Right, of course, he said, backing away. I'll be in my office upstairs if you need anything. Just take your time. Alone at last, Maya leaned against the counter and took a deep breath. What were the odds? Of all the houses in the city, she had to end up in Ethan Caldwell's mansion. She allowed herself exactly 30 seconds to process the shock before straightening her shoulders. She had a job to do, and Emma would be waiting for help with her math homework tonight. As she worked her way through the lower floor, Maya couldn't help noticing how unlived in everything felt. The formal dining room looked like it had never hosted a dinner. The living room had no personal photos, no books left out, no signs of everyday life. It was as if Ethan had bought the magazine-worthy interior exactly as it was staged, without adding any personal touches. Only when she reached his office did she find any evidence of the man who lived here. A desk cluttered with papers and coffee mugs. A wall covered with whiteboards full of diagrams and code. And there, on a shelf behind his desk, a framed photo of their high school graduating class. Maya was dusting the shelf when Ethan returned, carrying 2 mugs of coffee. I thought you might need this, he said, offering her one. You always used to have coffee at Rosie's, right? Black with 1 sugar. The fact that he remembered such a small detail about her was more disarming than she wanted to admit. You remember that? I remember a lot of things, he said quietly, leaning against the doorframe, including that I was pretty awful to you sometimes. Maya took the coffee, unsure how to respond. The memory of his taunts, always just sharp enough to sting but clever enough to make others laugh, had faded over the years, but hadn't disappeared entirely. High school was a long time ago, she said finally. Not long enough that I don't owe you an apology. His expression was earnest now. Those blue eyes focused entirely on her. I was insecure and stupid. I'm sorry, Maya. There was something about the sincerity in his voice that melted a piece of the wall she'd built between them. Apology accepted, she said, taking a sip of her coffee. Perfect. Exactly how she liked it. So, Ethan continued, seeming encouraged by her response. Tell me what you've been doing since West Ridge High. Maya hesitated. She hated talking about her struggles, hated the pity that inevitably followed. But something in Ethan's expression seemed genuinely interested, not judgmental. Well, I was at community college for a while, studying business. She moved to dust another shelf, keeping her hands busy. But then my mom got sick, and I had to drop out to help with bills. I'm sorry to hear that, Ethan said. Is she... She passed away 5 years ago, Maya said quickly. After that, my sister Elena moved in with me. She has lupus and the medical bills. She shrugged. Let's just say I've become an expert at juggling jobs. And what about you? What happened to your dreams? I remember you talking about wanting to travel, to see the world. The fact that he remembered that detail too caught her off guard. Dreams cost money, she said simply. Reality costs more. Especially with Emma, that's my niece. To think about, she's 13 now, scary smart, obsessed with computers and coding. Something lit up in Ethan's eyes. Really? What languages is she learning? I don't understand any of it, Maya admitted. She's been teaching herself from library books and free online resources. The school computer lab lets her stay late sometimes. That's impressive dedication at her age. She's amazing, Maya said, a genuine smile spreading across her face. Stubborn as they come, but determined, she's convinced she's going to build the next big app and buy us a house someday. Sounds like she has good business instincts already, Ethan said with a grin. Then his expression turned more serious. Listen, Maya, I know it's been a long time, but I'd like to make up for being such a jerk in high school. Would you consider letting me pay you triple the usual rate for today? And maybe you could come back regularly? Maya froze, immediately suspicious. I don't need charity, Ethan. It's not charity, he insisted. This place is a mess. And frankly, I'd rather have someone I know handling my cleaning than a stranger. And... He gestured to the stack of papers on his desk. I genuinely need the help. I'm drowning in work and can barely keep up with basic housekeeping. She wanted to refuse on principle, but the practical side of her brain calculated how much extra money that would mean each month. Money that could go toward Emma's laptop fund or Elena's medication. Fine, she agreed reluctantly. But I work for it. No special treatment. Deal, he said, extending his hand. When their fingers touched, Maya felt a jolt of something she hadn't experienced in years. Awareness that made her quickly withdraw her hand. I should finish up down here, she said, retreating to safer ground. Ethan nodded, seemingly unaware of her sudden discomfort. I'll be upstairs if you need me. What would you do if you suddenly reconnected with someone from your past who had changed dramatically? Would you be able to see beyond your history, or would old wounds still affect how you see them? Share your thoughts in the comments. Over the next few weeks, Maya found herself returning to 17 Cedarwood Drive every Thursday afternoon. Despite her initial reservations, she had to admit that Ethan's generous payments were making a difference in their lives. Emma had been able to join a weekend coding workshop, and they'd been able to afford Elena's new medication without dipping into their meager savings. The dynamics between Maya and Ethan had shifted too. Each week, he seemed to let down another layer of his polished CEO facade. He started telling her about the pressures of running his company, the loneliness of success, the strain of everyone wanting something from him. That's why I like having you here, he confessed one afternoon as she organized his bookshelves. You're the only person who knew me before all this who doesn't care about my stock options or networking opportunities. I don't even know what stock options are, Maya laughed. Exactly, he grinned, then grew more serious. Can I ask you something? Back in high school, why were you always so nice to me even when I was such a jerk? Maya paused, thinking back to those days. I guess I could tell you were putting on an act. The teasing, the showing off, it never seemed like the real you. And what did you think the real me was like? She smiled at the memory. I saw how you helped Mrs. Winters carry her groceries when you thought no one was watching. How you purposely missed shots in gym class. So Brian Newman, who everyone made fun of for being uncoordinated, wouldn't be the worst player. Little things that told me there was more to you than your rich kid persona. Ethan looked genuinely surprised. I didn't think anyone noticed those things. I noticed a lot about you, Maya admitted, then blushed at how that sounded. I mean, I was observant about everyone. An awkward silence fell between them, broken only when Ethan's phone rang. Business calling, as always. Maya returned to her cleaning, but something had shifted in the atmosphere between them. The following Thursday, Maya arrived to find Ethan waiting for her with unusual excitement. "I have something to show you," he said, leading her not to the main house, but to a small guest cottage on the property she hadn't noticed before. "I had this space converted. Tell me what you think." He opened the door to reveal a small but state-of-the-art computer lab. 3 desktop computers with large monitors, ergonomic chairs, and a whiteboard covering one wall. "What is this?" Maya asked, confused. "It's for Emma," Ethan said, watching her face closely. "And any friend she might want to bring. I know you mentioned she's been teaching herself to code, and I thought, well, I have all this space I'm not using, and there are these youth coding programs I support through my foundation." Maya stared at him, speechless. The equipment in this room probably cost more than she made in 6 months. "This is too much," she finally managed. "It's nothing," Ethan insisted. "Really? These are just extra computers from the office. And I've been looking for students to test our new educational software anyway. Emma would actually be doing me a favor." Maya knew he was downplaying the gesture, but she could see how much it meant to him that she accept. "Why?" she asked simply. Ethan's confident demeanor faltered. "Because I remember what it's like to have a passion and no resources to pursue it. My parents couldn't afford a computer when I was starting out. If my high school teacher hadn't let me use the computer lab after hours, I never would have learned to code." The sincerity in his voice made something inside Maya soften. This wasn't about charity or showing off his wealth. This was Ethan connecting with her niece's struggle in a way Maya couldn't have anticipated. "Emma will be over the moon," she admitted. "But I want her to understand that this comes with responsibility. She needs to know this isn't just a gift. It's an opportunity she has to make the most of." "Absolutely," Ethan agreed. "And maybe," he hesitated, "maybe I could mentor her a bit? Only if she's interested, of course." The request was so earnest that Maya found herself nodding. She'd love that. But fair warning, she'll ask you a million questions. "Good," Ethan smiled. "That's how you learn." That evening, when Maya told Emma about the computer lab, the girl's reaction was everything she'd imagined and more. Emma bounced on the couch, peppering Maya with questions about the computers, the software, and especially about Ethan. Is he really the Ethan Caldwell? The one who created CalderSecure? Emma's eyes were wide with admiration. He's like famous in the coding world. "Apparently so," Maya said, amused by her niece's excitement. "Though to me, he's still the boy who put frog in Mrs. Peterson's desk in 9th grade. Emma giggled, then grew serious. "Why is he doing this for me? He doesn't even know me." Maya considered the question, thinking back to her conversations with Ethan. "I think he sees something of himself in you. And maybe he's trying to be the person he needed when he was young." The next day was Saturday, and Maya found herself driving Emma to Cedarwood Drive for first time. Watching her niece's expression as they pulled up to the gates was priceless, a mixture of awe and trepidation that Maya understood all too well. Ethan was waiting for them at the cottage, dressed casually in jeans and a T-shirt with the Calder Tech logo. He seemed nervous, running a hand through his hair as he greeted them. "You must be Emma," he said, offering his hand formally. "Your aunt tells me you're interested in coding." Emma, normally chatty and confident, suddenly turned shy. "Yes, sir. I'm learning Python right now." "Python's a great choice," Ethan nodded approvingly. "And please call me Ethan. Sir makes me feel ancient." Emma's shyness lasted approximately 5 minutes. By the time Ethan had shown her how to set up her own user account and explained the software available, she was firing questions at him with her usual enthusiasm. Maya watched from the doorway, struck by how patient Ethan was, how he spoke to Emma as an equal rather than talking down to her. "I'll leave you two to it," Maya said after a while. "I should get started on the house." As she cleaned, she could hear occasional bursts of laughter from the cottage. Through the window, she caught glimpses of them, heads bent together over a keyboard, Emma gesturing animatedly, while Ethan listened with complete attention. Something about the scene made her throat tight with emotion. Later, when Emma was exploring the tutorial on her own, Ethan joined Maya in the kitchen. "She's brilliant," he said without preamble. "Truly, the way she thinks about problems, the questions she asks, she has real talent." Pride swelled in Maya's chest. "She works hard. Always has. It shows." Ethan leaned against the counter, watching Maya organize his pantry. "You've done an amazing job with her, you know. She told me how you help her with projects, how you're always encouraging her even though computer science isn't your thing. She deserves every opportunity." Maya said simply, "It hasn't always been easy to provide them, but you've made it work," Ethan finished. "That's what matters." Their eyes met, and Maya felt that same jolt of awareness she'd experienced when they shook hands. This time, she didn't look away. There was something in Ethan's gaze, admiration, yes, but something else too, something that made her heartbeat quicken. "Maya," he began, then hesitated. "Ethan, come look at this." Emma's excited voice called from outside. "I figured out the loop problem." The moment broke. Ethan smiled ruefully. "Duty calls. But we'll talk later?" "Sure," Maya agreed, turning back to the pantry to hide the flush creeping up her neck. Has someone in your life ever appeared with unexpected kindness that changed everything? Or have you been that person for someone else? Those moments of genuine connection can be so powerful. Drop a comment below and tell me about a time when someone showed you unexpected support. As autumn deepened, a new routine emerged. Every Thursday, Maya cleaned Ethan's house while he worked in his home office. Every Saturday, Emma spent hours in the computer lab, sometimes with Ethan's guidance, sometimes working independently on projects he'd suggested. And somewhere along the way, the strict professional boundaries Maya had tried to maintain began to blur. Ethan started joining her for coffee breaks, their conversations growing longer and more personal. He told her about the crushing pressure of running a tech company, about investors who cared only about quarterly profits, about his loneliness despite being surrounded by people. In turn, Maya shared stories about Emma's progress in school, Elena's good days and bad days, the small victories and ongoing challenges of their lives. She found herself looking forward to these conversations, to the way Ethan really listened, to how he remembered details from previous discussions. One rainy Saturday in November, Emma was deeply absorbed in a coding project when Ethan suggested Maya join him for lunch. "I actually cooked," he said proudly as he led her to the kitchen. "Nothing fancy, just pasta, but it's not takeout." The kitchen counter was set for two, and a pot of something that smelled delicious simmered on the stove. "You cooked for me?" Maya asked, touched by the gesture. "I thought it was time I used this kitchen for something other than making coffee," he admitted. "Consider yourself my test subject." The pasta was slightly overcooked and the sauce a bit too salty, but Maya couldn't remember the last time anyone had prepared a meal specifically for her. They ate at the counter, talking and laughing as if they'd been friends for years instead of reconnecting just months ago. "I have something else to show you," Ethan said when they'd finished eating. He seemed nervous suddenly, fidgeting with his napkin. "It's upstairs, if you don't mind." Curious, Maya followed him to the second floor. She cleaned these rooms weekly for months now. The master bedroom with its barely used king bed, the home gym with equipment that still looked brand new, the guest rooms that never hosted guests. But Ethan led her to a room at the end of the hall that had always been locked during her cleaning visits. He opened the door to reveal a space transformed into an art studio, easels, canvases, paints, and brushes organized neatly on shelves. "What is this?" Maya asked, stepping inside. "You mentioned once that you used to paint in high school," Ethan said, "that you loved it but never had time anymore." Maya ran her fingers over a set of brushes, remembering how much joy painting had once brought her. "I can't believe you remembered that." "I remember everything you tell me, Maya." His voice was soft, almost vulnerable. "I know you think I'm just trying to throw money at problems, but this isn't about that. I just thought maybe you could use this space sometimes. While Emma's working with me, you could have some time for yourself." The thoughtfulness of the gesture overwhelmed her. For years, her own needs and desires had taken a back seat to survival. to keeping Elena's medication filled, to making sure Emma had everything she needed for school. The idea of having space and time for herself seemed almost foreign. "Ethan," she began, her voice thick with emotion. "You don't have to say anything," he rushed to add. "And you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I just thought—" Maya cut him off by reaching for his hand. "Thank you," she said simply. "This means more than I can say." His fingers tightened around hers. They stood like that for a long moment, the air between them charged with unspoken feelings. "Maya," Ethan finally said, his voice barely above a whisper, "I need to tell you something. These past few months, having you and Emma here, it's changed things for me. This house never felt like a home before. I bought it because I thought I was supposed to, because it's what successful people do. But it was just an empty showpiece until you started coming here. Ethan, let me finish, please." His eyes held hers, earnest and vulnerable. "I know this is complicated. I know we have history, and not all of it good. But I think I'm falling in love with you. And I needed you to know that." Maya's heart pounded in her chest. Part of her had known this was coming, had felt the growing connection between them. But hearing the words spoken aloud made everything suddenly, terrifyingly real. "This isn't a good idea," she said quietly, though she didn't pull her hand away. "We're from different worlds, Ethan. Always have been." "That didn't matter to you in high school," he reminded her. "You saw past all that. You saw me, the real me, when no one else did." "That was before," Maya insisted. "Before responsibilities, before Emma and Elena, before all the complications of my life. I can't just—" "I'm not asking you to just anything," Ethan interrupted gently. "I'm not asking you to change your life or abandon your responsibilities. I'm just asking for a chance. A chance to see if what I'm feeling, what I think we're both feeling, is real." Maya looked around the studio he'd created just for her, thought of the computer lab he'd built for Emma, remembered the way he listened when she talked about her struggles. This wasn't the same boy who had hidden his insecurities behind teasing and showing off. This was a man who had grown, who had learned to be vulnerable, who saw her, really saw her, and valued what he saw. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Me too," he said with a small smile. "Terrified, actually. But some things are worth being scared for." Slowly, Maya nodded. "One step at a time?" "One step at a time," Ethan agreed, his smile widening. When they returned downstairs, Emma was still absorbed in her coding, oblivious to the significant shift that had just occurred. Maya watched her niece's face, illuminated by the computer screen, deep in concentration, and felt a surge of hope she hadn't experienced in years. Later that night, as Maya tucked him into bed, the girl looked up with curious eyes. "Do you like Ethan?" she asked suddenly. Maya paused, caught off guard by the direct question. "Why do you ask?" "Because he likes you," Emma said with the matter-of-fact confidence of a 13-year-old. "He looks at you the way Mark Rodriguez looks at Lily Chin in my class. Like you're the most interesting person in the room." Maya couldn't help laughing. "Is that so?" "Yep," Emma nodded firmly. "And I think you like him too. You smile different when he's around." Out of the mouths of babes, Maya thought, "Would it bother you if I did like him?" Emma considered this seriously. "No. He's nice and super smart, and he doesn't treat me like a kid." She yawned widely. "Plus, he has really good Wi-Fi." Maya kissed her forehead, amused by her practical reasoning. "I'll keep that in mind. Good night, sweetie." "Night, Aunt Maya," Emma mumbled, already drifting off to sleep. In the quiet living room, Maya took out her phone and found a text from Ethan. "Thank you for today. For listening. For being honest. For being you." She typed back, "One step at a time, remember?" His response came immediately. "I'm not going anywhere. Take all the time you need." 6 months later, on a warm spring evening, Maya sat on Ethan's, no, their back patio, watching Emma demonstrate her newly completed app to Elena. The app was designed to help lupus patients track their symptoms, medications, and energy levels. Elena's face shone with pride as Emma explained each feature, many of which had been specifically created with her mother's needs in mind. Maya felt a warm presence behind her, then Ethan's hands on her shoulders. She's going to change the world someday, he murmured, sitting beside Maya and taking her hand. She already is, Maya agreed, leaning against him. Thanks to you. Not just me, Ethan corrected. You laid the foundation long before I came along. All I did was provide some tools and get out of her way. Maya smiled, thinking of how much had changed in a year. Elena's health had stabilized with better medical care. Emma was thriving in her new school with its advanced computer science program. And Maya had started painting again, had even sold a few pieces through a local gallery. More importantly, she had found a partnership she never expected, with a man who valued her strength and supported her dreams. What are you thinking about? Ethan asked, noticing her contemplative expression. Second chances, Maya replied. How life can surprise you when you least expect it. Best surprise of my life, Ethan said, pressing a kiss to her temple. Walking into my empty house and finding you there. From across the patio, Emma called, Aunt Maya, Mom, come see what happens when you press this button. As they stood to join them, Maya took one last look at the scene. Her family, together and thriving in a place that had once represented everything beyond her reach. Cedarwood Drive wasn't just an address anymore. It was home. What's your view on second chances? Do you believe people can truly change, or are some parts of our past impossible to overcome? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more heartfelt stories about love, growth, and unexpected connections. Life rarely follows a straight path. Sometimes the detours and unexpected turns lead us to exactly where we need to be, even if it's not where we thought we were going. Maya and Ethan's story reminds us that true growth requires honest self-reflection, the courage to be vulnerable, and the willingness to let go of who we were to become who we can be. The walls we build to protect ourselves, whether through teasing and showing off like Ethan or through professional distance and skepticism like Maya, often keep out not just pain, but also possibility. It's only when we risk lowering these defenses that we create space for genuine connection. Second chances aren't just about forgiveness. They're about recognition, seeing who someone truly is now, not just who they were then. Maya and Ethan's journey wasn't about erasing their past, but about building a future that honored both where they'd been and where they hoped to go. Perhaps most importantly, their story reminds us that success isn't measured by the size of our homes or the balance in our bank accounts, but by the lives we touch and the love we share. True wealth lies in the connections we forge, the support we offer, and the community we build, one step at a time.